Today is a special day. Today is the day that I get to ride a bike that I've wanted to ride for a long time, and I've raved about for a long time, and this is going to surprise you as well. Now, back in the day I was always riding off-road bikes and always riding adventure bikes as well, but one of the bikes I always said that was great value, very capable as a big ADV, was this. It's the Suzuki V Strom 1050 DE off-road variant. Look at this bad boy. Okay, so I'm going to take this down the road and give it a good old trial and see what I think. I am in the market for another bike, potentially, maybe a touring, maybe an ADV bike, not sure as yet, or whether I still upstage my existing bike. However, this is a bike I wanted to try for a long time, and the guys at the local Suzuki dealership, very kind. They said, yeah, just come and try it. I was literally just riding by and they said, come and try it. So I thought, hey, why not? I don't do motorcycle reviews, okay, but all I can say is it's got loads of spec on there. It's got quick shifter. It's got different riding modes, as you would expect. Off-road capable, spoke wheels. It's got a fixed windscreen on there, but you can get the bracketry to make it a movable one if you want to. It's got everything you need. It sits up tall, just riding here, smooth as you like. The clutch is really light. Balance is great. Right, I'm going to take it down the road now, get away from this busy road. I'm going to take you along with me, and well, tell you what afterwards. Say it's not a review, it's more just like, hey, I get to ride a Suzuki V Strom 1050 DE. That is a good bike, good bike. So this V Strom DE 1050, loads of power. It's got different rider modes, but they're kind of lettered, so you don't really know which one you're in. And it's kind of, one's more sportier, one's more roady, streety, the other one's more rainer mode. I flip between the modes, and it's a little bit of difference, but not a great deal of difference between the road and the rain mode, as it were. But they call it ABC. You can turn the traction control off, and you've got different settings or different stages of it. It says you got an ABS selection where you can toggle up through, but I couldn't change it. It was just stuck on ABS 2 the whole time, which I don't really know what that means. So if you've got one of these and you know how to change the ABS, whether to turn it off or, you know, if that's your preference, let us know, because I don't know how to do it. The only thing that I could find that you could change on the fly as you were riding was the rider modes. Everything else, like ABS of course, and the traction control, you had to be stationary to change it. But I tell you what, in terms of the riding comfort, it's great. The seat is a bit hard, I get it, but you can change it. You can actually put I believe you can put the road variant seat on there, which has got 2 rider heights on there. You could also change the windscreen here and put the mechanism in so you can make it adjustable. It would be a manual adjust. But apart from that, the bike is great. This garish yellow colour, they got 3 different colours. I think there's like a greyish one, there's a black one. So I'm not sure about the yellow myself. But in terms of the way it rides, the engine smoothness, the power delivery, the brakes, the suspension, which is manual adjust, but it's got a full adjustability, but it's manual adjust on there. It's a great bike. And this is where, when I was riding ATVs as well, I'd always say to people, actually the Kawasaki and the Suzuki V Strom in this case were really good buys if you're looking for an ADV bike or a touring bike that you can get, you know, and you'll get great value for money out of it. It hasn't got the name, it hasn't got the prestige, if you like, of a BMW, let's say, but it's a great bike, there's no doubt about it. Now, as I say, there's this version, which is the off-roady bike, right, the DE, which has got spoke wheels, and it's got engine crash guards and all that kind of stuff. It's got the harder type seat, it's got the rally style fairing. But you could also get this in a tour version, and essentially all that means is that it's got boxes on the back. You put side panniers on it, you can put a top box on it as well. The road version has got basically different wheels, road wheels, and it's got a movable fairing. It's got a different seat as well, or windshield I should say, different seat. But you could also have that in a tour version as well. But effectively they're the same bike, right? Just a few differences. I really like it. I got to say, I always said to people, if you want to get a tourer or a multi-purpose tourer or something like that, go for an adventure bike. But I've also said, if you want to do any serious off-roading, don't get one of these. They're just too big and heavy and too tall as well. I'm 6'1". I got a 32 inside leg, I think it is, and I'm on tippy toes on this thing. So it is tall, but I say when you're riding it, you are commanding the road. You are up high, you can see over cars. It's great. Whereas on my Harley, for example, really low slung, so you're kind of in amongst it a little bit. It's sometimes hard to see the road ahead, especially in traffic. This, you're right above it. It's great, and that's a great thing about big ADVs. You're sitting high up, you can see everything that's going on. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? It's a bit awkward, the design. It's that tank that comes out and comes straight down, and the way it juts out, I mean, look, let's face it, ADVs are not the nicest looking bikes anyway, but there is a bit of a funny angle I find on that V Strom. Well, I suppose whether you like it or not. So from the looks of it, I'm not totally sold, but from the way it rides and the features on it and the value that you're going to get out of it, if you're thinking about getting a BMW or getting a Triumph or something, off-road bike or big ADV bike, I would say just hold on, try these out first of all, because you probably save yourself a few quid and you'll get everything that you'll ever need in a tourer or a big ADV as well. So as you can imagine, I've ridden most ADVs in the past. This is one thing when I rode the Harley Davidson Pan America. One of the big criticisms I always had was this, that on their Revolution Max engine, they've got the voltage regulator, I believe, and also especially the radiator is way low, right? It's right in front of the wheel. Whereas with the V Strom here, the Suzuki, they've got it right. They know exactly what they're talking about. Because look, the radiator is way up there. It's got a longer mud guard, so all that mud, or the most of that mud, the bulk of that mud and grit and dirt, it's just going to hit here, and it's going to hit the belly pan. It's not even going to the engine. You might get a muddy exhaust, you might get a bit of mud here, but actually on the radiator, where you want the most engine cooling to be effective from, guess what? It's not even going to get covered. Harley Davidson's, for example, is all the way down here, so it's going to get damaged and caked in mud, and it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. I suppose that's all I can say about it, really. The design of it, I think, is really, really good. I think the way it rides is excellent. The quick shifter on it is a bit clunky as in lower speeds, but once you're on higher speeds or you let off the throttle properly, it's silky smooth. When you're using the clutch just in manual mode, as it were, it's really light, really smooth. The way it's balanced, even though it's a tall bike, really nice in the bends, really good. You can really feel it gripping, even with these kind of off-roady, on-road, off-roady type tyres. Great. I think the suspension setup, whilst I haven't really played around with it, is fine. It works really well. The different rider modes are certainly suitable. Yeah, so I suppose all that's left to do is take it on a couple of tracks and see what I think. But on-road and off-road, for the most part, light off-road stuff, it's well worth it if you're looking for it. And I've always said that I'm never discounting an adventure bike as a touring bike, because I think they're great bikes, all around purpose bikes. And I'm still undecided which way I want to go in terms of upstaging my Harley, going for a touring bike, or going for a different type of motorcycle. That's why I'm kind of trying most I can. So the great thing about the V Strom is it's got some history now. It's been on the market for a while. They've been able to fine-tune things a little bit. They've got the 650 variant, the XT, and the road version as well. They got the 800 DE and the 800 road version as well. So depends on what size you want. You can find a bike, the V Strom, that's going to suit your kind of riding and the mileage you want to do. I'm not going to lie to you, The yellow doesn't do it for me at all, but that's a colour, right? That's a colour. There's other options. The black, I would say, is a much better option for me. They got this kind of greyish colour, which I think is a great colour as well. But I like it. The bike, I like. There's no crap here. There's no bullshit, no YouTuber bullshit. That bike is a great bike. The seat is hard. It might be uncomfortable on long journeys, but you'd have to overcome that. Put boxes on it and it'd be a great touring bike. But run it naked as it is now, yeah, you'd have lots of fun, which I'm just about to go and have. Come along with me for this bit of trail riding. Okay, the verdict. What I think of this, really. I rode a V Strom 1050 DE and I've got to say it's cracking, but it suffers the same issues of all big ADVs off-road, in that even though these are the kind of off-roady type tyres, you really need to have some Anarchy Wild knobbly tyres anytime it's wet, any kind of slippery mud, because it does slip and slide all over the place and the front wants to slip from out of you. But it's much lighter than, let's say, the Triumph Explorer that I used to have a few years ago, and it's much more sure-footed than that was. So once it's on the driest stuff, it's absolutely fine. So as long as you're not going on any inclines and steep mud and all that sort of stuff, you'll still get through it likely, but you just have to be so careful, because the bike will slip from under you. The front more than the back. The front would just want to away you go. But I tell you what, it's great. And look, I've been through the mud bit. The bottom here is caked in mud, but look at the radiator, not even a splash. So if you're thinking about any bike taking it off-road, then, and if you're thinking about something like a Harley Davidson, the Pan America, or something like this, well, look at this. This doesn't get caked at all, whereas the Pan America would. So for me, this wins hands down. If I'm looking for another ADV bike, this would be a serious contender, no doubt. But not just for spec, it's the value for money that you get. You're paying less, you're getting proportionally more. It's just a great riding bike. And let's face it, how many people are going to go serious off-road in one of these? Not many. So if you're just looking for an upright riding position, you're commanding the road, you've got a good view of the road, you want to take it on a tour, put boxes on it, great bike. Anyway, listen, I'm going to carry on down the road and I'll catch you again. Ta-da.